Well, this has nothing to do with food. I'm sorry. But we have to welcome our guests this week. I'm very excited. I've had them both on my show at Radio Disney. They're so much fun. So Olivia Rodrigo and Joshua Bassett from High School Musical, the series, are here. Welcome, guys.
Woo! Welcome, guys.
Thanks for having us. So happy to have you guys here.
Yeah.
I feel like we've been talking about the show since the Expo. That's where we kicked off the show at D23 Expo.
Right.
And you guys performed there. Was that your first big performance and like playing in front of like 7,000 people?
Yeah, it was insane.
I was so nervous. I remember the whole cast, we were all just like holding each other and like shaking. We were super scared, but it turned out to be amazing. It was like one of the most fun experiences that I've ever had. It was just, the energy was just like ecstatic. It was great.
Yeah.
You guys were rock stars.
It was actually, for me, the largest amount of people that I'd ever played guitar in front of, which is, you don't think of as like an achievement, but it was just terrifying. Because Olivia and I both started it out, it was nice to have someone else on stage with me, so we had someone to kind of connect with if, it went wrong, but it went really well.
You guys killed it. It was so great. Well, let's start with the original High School Musical. Were you both fans before getting your role in the new series?
Yeah, definitely. I think our generation especially grew up watching all of these movies. And so to be a part of this kind of reboot of such a loved trilogy is just really incredible. I had all of the High School Musical merch when I was a kid. I had like Troy and Gabriella Barbie dolls. Like it was a whole thing.
Me too.
Yeah, me too. Yeah. So it's really surreal to be here right now.
My first show ever was High School Musical. I was 8 years old. Played JV Jock number 2.
It's a good role.
Ooh,
Yes,
good role.
it is good. So to say that it was in my life would be very true. It was insane when I got the role. I didn't even think about that fact that was my first ever musical theater production. That was what introduced me to all of this. And here I was, my first big role. It was a very insane full circle, but yeah, so... Yeah.
Totally. You guys have both done work before on Disney Channel, both musicians. So what does it feel like to kind of combine all of that into one with this show?
It's insane. Yeah, I always say that like this show I get to do all of my favorite things with all of my favorite people. It's just the ultimate experience. But yeah, so I was on Disney Channel for a while before, and I'm a singer and I write songs, and I never thought that there would be a project that does everything that I love to do and have been preparing for a long time. So to get this was just really incredible, and I think I've grown a lot as just a person and as an artist on the show because of it. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I remember about I want to say 2 weeks before I got the role, I called my dad and I was like, I'm done, man. I love acting, but this isn't it. I'm just going to pursue music. If acting works out, and that's great, but right now I'm going to start focusing on music. And the next day I got an audition for High School Musical, and I was like, well, why not both? So that, it fortunately all worked out. And so I was able to pursue both things that I wanted to do at the same time, which is the most insane dream come true. It's mind-blowing.
So, Olivia, you just touched on this. You're a songwriter. Both of you are songwriters. And you wrote a song in the episode that just aired, episode 9, Just for a Moment, which was so great. Can you talk about the inspiration for that and how that came together and what it was like for you?
That was incredible. Our showrunner, Tim Federle, came up to us and said, there might be like an open slot for a song in episode 9, like no promises, but maybe if you guys wanted to like just try co-writing or just like play around with different song ideas. And we kind of already did that. We always, like, Josh would always bring his guitar to set and everyone would sing along. And so it's kind of been this thing that's been going on for a while. But Tim said that and we kind of started looking at it a little more seriously. And so he kind of gave us the general plot of what episode 9 was, because we were like, we had no idea what the rest of the show was going to be like. We had no idea who was going to end up with each other and like how everything was going to resolve. But so he gave us kind of a little synopsis of the plot, and we just went to work, and like in between scenes we would like find a piano and just mine stuff out and see what sounded good. And eventually we came up with a song, and we actually came up with a couple, but the one that we decided on was the one that Tim and all of the other executives liked the most. And we recorded it, and we recorded it blind, so another person sang all of our parts so that it was completely anonymous. And we sent it in. They liked ours the best, which is really cool.
Wow.
To get to do it with Josh was so amazing. I'm so inspired by him all the time. And so to get to do a project like that with him was just amazing. Yeah.
I think I speak for both of us when I say it was our first time co-writing a song.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty neat first time co-writing with your co-star in this context when, we're living in Salt Lake City and we're shooting a TV show, and in between takes you're writing a song for the TV show, and you go home and you send each other ideas, and then the next morning you're in the makeup trailer and you're like, how about this lyric instead of this? And she'll be like, I like this one better, let's go back to that, whatever it is. So that whole environment was so creatively fulfilling, and just it was a wonderful time. I still can't believe they chose it, but here we are.
Congrats.
Well, in that same episode, you guys finally put on High School Musical. Yeah. What was it like getting to do that?
It felt like a real show.
It did.
They had 300 extras in the audience. It felt like we were really putting on like a school production.
Yeah, it totally did.
Did you look for your mom out there?
Oh yeah. My fake mom and everything.
Yeah.
There were glimpses where I genuinely couldn't tell the difference between a show and, because when the lights are on, you can't see the cameras anymore. And I did so much musical theater, it's like you're back on stage. It was insane.
Yeah, there's been a couple of moments throughout the filming of the show where I've really been like, oh my gosh, this is magical. Like I have to pinch myself, and definitely filming that was one of those moments. We had like a full marching band, like all of these high schoolers came and like played with us, and I remember there was a full marching band playing, and like hundreds of people like cheering, and like the cameras were rolling, and there was like confetti and like crazy stuff. And I remember being in the fake wings with Josh, and I was like, oh my god, can you really believe that we're doing this right now?
Yeah.
It's just surreal, no other words.
Wow, we don't want to give any spoilers, but in this week's finale, you guys are going to do Act 2. So what can fans expect?
Oh boy, lots of twists and turns.
I want to know the secrets,
tell you
but I
that.
don't.
It's interesting. We get the scripts the night before we read them as a cast together.
Yeah.
And so we were finding out along with each other and stuff, and we were making our own predictions on what happens, and our own theories and stuff. So it was exciting to find that out as we found it out, and I think people are going to be thoroughly taken for a ride when they see episode 9 or episode 10.
Expect the unexpected. Lots of very pressing issues get resolved, so people, I think, will really love to see that. I think probably one of my favorite scenes is in the finale. It's a scene between me and Josh, and I think people will really like it. It was fun to film.
Ooh.
I can't
Excited.
give too much
I'm
away.
like,
I know.
is
I'm
Gina
like
in
just
the
like
scene?
I
Because
like
I
it.
just need to know.
Lots of stuff goes down.
Okay.
Has it been hard keeping like all the plot points a secret now that you do know where everything goes? Or your friends like, come on, tell us?
It's more my dad. My dad texts me all the time. He watches every episode the night it comes out, and he texts me all his theories and all his favorite parts and all the things he didn't get and everything. And I'll explain to him, and then I'll give him like a little fun fact about when we filmed that scene, how this happened and whatnot. So mainly my dad. Yeah, it's not too hard.
No. I think fans are really curious too, and I've gotten many a DM or like a person coming up to me being like, oh, is she gonna get with Ricky? Is she gonna get with EJ? Who do you like? And I'm like, I have to remain impartial. Like, I can't tell you guys. So that's super fun though. I'm really excited for people to see how it all ends up or how it doesn't end up.
Oh, can't wait. I mean,
The Twitter theories are insane though.
Oh my gosh. People like put so much thought into it. Like they type out like these long paragraphs
catch
with like
things
the
I didn't
character
even catch.
backstory. Yeah. Like we have some diehard smart fans.
Has anybody been right about any of these theories?
Maybe not. Who knows?
Did
You'll
you
never know
favorite
who was
them?
right and who wasn't.
Just digging.
just dig through the whole internet and we'll find it.
Yeah, there you go.
Heart it once for yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Smiley face for
Right.
maybe.
I mean, the series has so many fans. Even as you guys were coming into the studio, I could hear a little hubbub outside. Have you had any funny fan encounters?
Somebody took a video of me for like 20 minutes in a Chipotle, and I was like, just leave me alone. Man. I was just trying to eat, and then I was like, am I eating right? Do I look weird? I'm like, am I chewing all the way? Like, what? I forgot how to eat, but I can't think of any others than that. No, any like
gosh.
bizarre ones. They've been pretty cool.
Just like interesting people. Like we filmed it in like such isolation, like, and we had kind of no idea like who was gonna see it or how it was gonna be received. And so like to see people receiving it well is really cool. Or like cool people like Ben Platt told me that he really liked the show, which was
Wow.
insane.
Wow.
I was
What?
like, oh my god, like the king of musical theater like said that he likes the show. So that was pretty cool.
I want to know where you ran into Ben Platt.
He texted me. We have a mutual friend, and he texted me.
Get
He liked
out.
the
Are you
show.
kidding me?
Yeah, I was like,
Wow.
I was dead. Ben Platt, if you're watching this, I love you. Or listening to this, my bad. We're on a podcast.
If you're watching this, we want to know how you're doing.
that
Stop
Are you?
looking.
You guys have had a couple of cameos from High School Musical. Tell me a little bit about what that was like.
Yeah, so we had Casey Stroh and Lucas Griviel guest star. Lucas was in episode 8, and you know that number was just insane to shoot because they did it virtually in one take, the entire dance number.
Wow.
So it was a very well choreographed machine. They had many rehearsals with just the cast. They had many rehearsals with the camera crew, everyone together and everything. And then Lucas came in and he nailed every part every time. And so seeing that, and then also just being able to kind of have a conversation with him off screen, a real heart to heart about just everything he went through and all the behind the scenes stuff that the public doesn't get to see, but certain things that, you know, I think Olivia and I can relate to, and everyone else in my cast, that the High School Musical cast had, they were able to kind of share an experience with us, or vice versa. Also, Corbin Blue's really cool.
Right.
He did a few interviews, and just getting some of his wisdom was really a neat experience.
We met Monique Coleman. She
That's
came to our
right,
premiere. And Kenny Ortega, who directed the first 3 films. And that was incredible. And just hearing their advice, you know, like Josh was saying, like nobody really is going to understand how we're feeling as much as they did, are experiencing the same things at a really young age. I just had a wonderful talk with Monique about like feeling like an imposter, like kind of like feeling like all of the success that you've gotten is just pure luck and like nothing else. And I thought that was something that I had been feeling a lot like that week leading up to talking with her. And so that was just really incredible. And it's always nice to get their endorsement because, you know, we started out on this thing and we were like, oh man, we really got to do it right. Like this is such an iconic franchise. We really have to do it justice. And just to get their blessing just means the whole world.
Aw.
So you mentioned Tim, the creator of the show, earlier. He said that for season 2, there's going to be another musical.
Right.
So assuming it's not High School Musical 2, what musical would you guys really want it to be?
Yes, this is the pressing question. I have on my phone a list of everybody's predictions because I'm like, one of us has to be right. Like we have no idea and one of us has to be right. My prediction is Newsies. Because it's like Disney, so they already have the rights, and I think Kenny Ortega did a Newsies something with Newsies, so it's like kind of in the same vein as High School Musical, and I think it would be really fun to do. I don't know. I'm so excited to find out what the new musical is. Hopefully my prediction's right. What about you, Josh?
I want it to be Peter Pan. I don't think it's gonna be, but I want it to be because I was Peter Pan when I was 12. The chaos that comes with like school productions of Peter Pan and the flying and all that jazz is very comical. It was comical at the time, and I think it would work. So I want it to be Peter Pan, but that's me being biased.
And your dad won't have to ask you for spoilers.
There you go. He knows the. There you go.
Yeah.
Gosh, I wonder, will Peter stay with Wendy? Will he stay?
I know. My dad.
Not sure.
So I thought Wendy in this scene.
So you both grew up near Disneyland. Did you end up going a lot growing up?
All the time. My family got annual passes every year. It was the biggest thing. Yeah, every year we'd go.
Yeah, I actually just recently started going once I started working for Disney Channel, and it's so magical. I just love it, and going with Disney and all of my castmates who are my best friends is just a magical experience.
Yeah. Any favorite Disney attractions or snacks?
I think we got to ask him them all. Like, all right, so this is for fans, so we
Right.
want to
True.
know favorite Disney attraction.
Space Mountain.
Space Mountain. Also, Tomorrowland Theater, they're doing High School Musical screening type things.
Which is crazy.
Insane.
That is
I used to watch the Captain EO there when I was like 6.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
And somebody told me that like our songs are playing while you're waiting in line
Right.
for Space Mountain, which is absolutely absurd. Like that's crazy. I love Space Mountain. My favorite is Indiana Jones.
Ooh,
That's a good one.
Ooh.
When
Good
they
old
said
classic.
very, very cool. All right, favorite snack.
Mine is chocolate bananas. I get
Those
like
are so good.
my top. I think I got like 4 in one trip in one day. They're my favorite, and like they're the best ones are at Disneyland. I can't find any other good chocolate bananas anywhere else besides Disneyland. So I have to like stock up every time I go there.
And they're kind of good for you.
Yeah,
yeah.
Fruit.
Not that
They're
bad.
good enough.
Good balance.
Yeah.
For Disneyland, it's great.
Yeah.
I don't know if mine's a snack or a meal. I don't know where it falls, but the corn dog stands, or obviously the Disneyland churros. They
Churros,
do it
yeah.
right.
Oh my gosh, yes. And like we went with one of our mutual friends, and she used to work at a churro cart, and so she knows all of the best churro places. Like apparently like there's different stations that have different churros that make them
No.
differently. So we like went with her, and she's like, okay, that one's good, that one's all right, and like but we have to go here. Just so fun.
a
So if you
churro
ever go
map.
to Disneyland with me, I know where the best churros are.
Oh my
But
gosh.
it's a secret.
They're all great.
Yes.
They're all equally magical. I have no idea what you're talking about.
Okay, favorite Disneyland spectacular or show or
Oh,
parade?
Josh.
Fantasmic, always.
Woohoo!
Okay,
Great choice.
There's a story here. When I was like 7, I have 5 sisters, and we put together a production of Fantasmic where we would play the entire song, and we made up an entire choreographed thing where I was Mickey, and they'd put me on their shoulders, and I would shoot fire. And, like, I had a little Mickey hat. Anytime somebody came over to the house, we're like, we got to show them the Fantasmic dance. So when I got to see it again recently after D23, that was magical. That was insane. It took me right back.
Oh, yeah.
I want to know how you shot fire out of your hands as a small
It
child.
was imaginary, but we
got
like
it.
to pretend.
I know. It's the magic of imagination.
Yeah.
No,
that's
I
Fantasmic
actually
101.
I had never seen one before Josh. And Josh was like, I went with Josh and he's like, we have to see Fantasmic. And I was like, but we really want to go see a show. We're at Disneyland. Let's like go ride roller coasters or something. But it was amazing. It was fantastic. And it was fantastic.
Fantasmic?
Yeah, fantastic. Yeah, so every time I go, because of Josh, I'll go see Fantasmic now.
Shucks.
Good answers.
Well, we end every show by asking our guests for a favorite Disney memory. So do you guys have one? You mentioned a couple recently.
Oh. We went to Disneyland as a cast, all of us together, and that's kind of a rare occasion because we all kind of live in different, parts of the U.S. Some people live in New York, and Sophia lives in like Arizona, and so we got all of the cast together when we went to Disneyland, and it was absolutely amazing. They're really just all my best friends, so going to Disneyland with my best friends, I can't think of a better way to spend a day.
Aww.
Yeah.
And also, fun fact, Larry Saperstein, who plays Big Red, we took him to Disneyland for his first time ever. And he was 21. It was his first time ever going, and that was one of the most amazing experiences because I'd grown up with it since I could remember. So seeing someone else experience it all for the first time and being like, all the fun facts that I learned about Disneyland over the 18 years of going, I was able to drop them all on him, and he was just so excited. One of my favorite memories from Disneyland, other than the ones that I mentioned, was that since my sisters and I were all homeschooled, my parents would on random days just surprise us and say, pack your bags, we're going to Disneyland for the week. So we'd wake up and be eating breakfast, and then my dad would hand my sister a note, and she'd read it out loud, and then we'd find out that we're all going. So we all run to our rooms and pack our bags and go to Disneyland. So yeah, I guess there's that.
That's cool.
Great.
I love that. We're so excited for what's to come with High School Musical, the musical, the series. So thank you guys for coming to chat with us about it.
Well, thanks for
Thank
having
you.
us.
Thank
It's fun.
you.
This was great.
Yay.
Woo!